Welcome back to WMMA Now with your host Chuck Stevenson, coming at you tonight with a special fight preview. So we're going all the way over to South Korea for Road FC 54, and technically this is the headliner of the Young Guns 43 card. Road FC treats their preliminary card as almost like a separate event. Young Guns usually for like beginning fighters, contenders, people that haven't quite made it contenders, and sometimes they'll put their female fights on there. Anyway, we're going to the atomweight division. Former title challenger Jeong-Eun Park coming in at 4-6-1, taking on Yuri Shim coming in at 5-2. So before we break this fight down fighter by fighter, strength by strength and everything, let's look at how these fighters stack up statistically. Shim is the older fighter by 3 years, 25, to Park's 22 years. Looking at their records, Park is the more experienced fighter at 4-6-1. However, Shim has the current better record with having a winning record of 5-2. Now, Park is coming off, of course, a failed title bid versus Hamsa-hee back in December, the current Road FC atomweight champ. Yuri Shim is coming off a win over Shim from China at the same event. Height. Yuri Shim has a massive 4-inch height advantage, 5'6" to Park's 5'2", and wow, 5'6" is tall for an atomweight. If there is a taller atomweight, I'm struggling to think maybe Irene Rivera, but I don't think she's ever actually made. She struggles to make atomweight, whereas I don't think Shim has. Now, as for reach, I don't have a reach available for either of these fighters, unfortunately. So now that we've looked at how they stack up statistically, let's break each fighter down. So we'll start with the former title challenger, Jeong-Eun Park. Park's strengths. Park is fast. She's a very fast striker, very speedy. She likes to dart in and out with her strikes. So she definitely has the speed advantage. In addition to that, she also has good striking at range. She is more of an outside fighter. Now, she's not afraid to get into the pocket and exchange, but watching her last few fights, she prefers to stay on the outside at a nice like boxing, kickboxing range. And then finally, Park has very strong top control. Now, she trains out of Team Strong Wolf, which is a kickboxing and sambo gym. Sambo, from what I've seen, tends to emphasize top control over bottom positioning, and it shows in the way she does. She does do so good on the bottom, but when she gets on top, she is very controlling, and she goes for submissions from there. So now that we've looked at Park's strengths, let's look at her keys to victory. First off, she needs to stay on the outside. Now, normally I would not advise staying on the outside against a taller, rangier fighter like Shim. However, for Park, I feel it is her strength, and Shim is more of an inside clinch fighter anyway, so I feel that if Park stays on the outside, she'll have an advantage because Shim is not an out fighter. So Park should stay on the outside and, work in and out and work her strikes from the outside. While she's doing that, she also needs to be careful and pick her shots. I wouldn't get into an extended exchange with Shim. I think she'd be better off picking her shots, working the jab more and working combos, and then getting back out and staying on the outside. And then finally, as a top control fighter, she needs to win the takedown battles. I don't know how much these fighters are going to seek to take each other down, but both have they prefer to take down from the clinch, and I would definitely recommend trying to win those takedown battles, of course. as she has better top control. She's better on top than she is on bottom. So she'll need to win that takedown battle. Okay, so we've looked at Jeong-Eun Park. Now let's look at her opponent, Yuri Shim. Shim's strengths. Okay, first off, Shim has brutal knees in the clinch. And I mean brutal. She beat up poor Shim in the clinch with those knees. I mean, poor Shim never had a chance in the clinch battle with her thanks to those knees. I mean, just brutal. She gets that tie plum and she just starts wailing knees to the body, to the head. She'll step outside against the cage. She'll step to the side and start landing the knees to the head. I mean, brutal, brutal knees. Did I mention that those knees are brutal? Also, Shim has very good, very strong takedowns from the clinch. Again, it's building off her strength being a clinch fighter. She's a Muay Thai stylist originally, so it makes sense that everything she does is from the clinch, and her takedowns from the clinch are very strong. And then finally, she is another one who is very good top control. Now, whereas Park comes from a Sambo background that emphasizes top control more than bottom, Shim comes from a primarily striking-oriented gym, Team Genius. Now, I've seen a video of these guys working on setting up takedowns from strikes. Their gym has no mats. There is a small ground-level ring, maybe like slightly raised, less than 6 inches off the floor. But they don't have any mats on the floor or the walls. So they're not trying to get taken down in that gym in MMA. So it makes very good sense that they work top control. They work the takedowns and they work top control. And Shim has very good top control. Very suffocating. Very elbow. Well, no, she's not allowed to throw elbows in Road FC. But very good submissions as well. She's gotten, I believe, 1 rear naked choke submission. But she's not afraid to work for that, for the submissions from top control. Okay, so now we've looked at Shim's strengths. Let's look at her keys to victory. So her biggest thing that she needs to focus on is closing the distance and getting to the clinch. Yes, she is a taller fighter. Yes, she is more than likely going to have a longer reach. However, her biggest strength is in the clinch. She's a Muay Thai stylist, but she is an inside Muay Thai stylist. So she needs to get to the clinch, and she needs to work the punches and the elbows, and if she can get in the clinch against the fence, even better. Also, she needs to work the body of Park. Because Park is fast, if you work the body, you're going to sap her strength, you're going to sap her cardio, which is going to reduce that speed. So she needs to work the body to take away some of that speed of Park. And then finally, just like Park, Shim needs to win the takedown battles. She's not as good on the bottom as she is on top. So if you're going to go for the takedown, you better make sure that you land on top. Okay, guys, so I've broken down each fighter by style and everything. I looked at the stats. Before I make my decision, I want to do another, disclaimer here. I like both of these fighters. Big fan of both. I want to see each of them succeed. And as far as why I'm doing a detailed breakdown for a fight that is on a prelim, and not only on a prelim, it's seemingly inconsequential because it's in a smaller regional promotion. This fight has serious title shot implications, especially for Yuri Shim. Now Park is coming off a failed title bid against Sahi Ham back in December for the Road FC atomweight title, but Ham is probably top 2-3 atomweights right now. So Park is coming off that, and Shim wants to get that title shot. She feels that with a win over the former title challenger that she can earn it. So this has important implications for the regional scene over there in South Korea. And Also, I do have a bias towards the Korean scene, having spent about 3.5, almost 4 years over there back when I was in the Air Force. So there's the disclaimer. Now, as for who I'm picking, I had to put aside, the fact that I like both these fighters. I have to look at both of their strengths and everything. And I believe that right now, Shim is on the rise. Park is, she's not on a downslope, I don't want to say. She's only 22 years old. But I feel that she has sort of plateaued at this point, whereas Shim has not yet. So I'm picking Yuri Shim by decision. Now, I think that Jeong-Eun Park, she has that losing record, but she has mostly suffered from bad matchmaking, both at home at Road FC and abroad in Japan. Most of her wins have come over fighters less experienced than her, whereas she has also, most of her losses are against the fighters who are much more experienced. That draw comes against Issei Watanabe. Huge experience difference, and had that fight gone to a third round, she'd have won that. Some of the losses, Sahi Ham. No shame in losing to one of the top atomweights in the world. Her last fight was in China, which is, I believe she was injured at the time. Some of her other losses, if I look them up real quick. Here. Okay, her very first fight, she went up against Emi Fujino, who had 23 fights at the time. That's no way to make your debut. And then her next fight was against 12-fight veteran Satomi Takano. And then over in Jules, she fought Mina Karobi, the then Jules champion, lost the decision. Beat Emi Tomomatsu, which huge experience advantage for Tomomatsu, and then lost to the now current Deep Jules atomweight champ, Tomo Maezawa. That was before the Ham fight. So yeah, Park is coming off a 3-fight losing streak, but she's shown a lot of promise, and she's shown that she can have improve. Although I think she might have to move to a new gym. Now Shim, on the other hand, I feel is on the rise, which is why I'm picking her by decision. I think her clinch work is very good, especially for the atomweight division, where there aren't many good fighters who work as good as her from the clinch. I think another fight I would compare the clinch work to, although still better than Shim, would be Loma Lookboonmee, who is, a stadium Muay Thai champion, or at least an IMFA champion. And also, I think that Shim has the momentum going, and she's hungry right now. She wants that title shot, so that's why I picked her. Anyway, this video went a little bit longer than I thought it would. Let me know your thoughts on the fight in the comments down below. And likes are always appreciated, guys. And what are you waiting for? Subscribe to WMMA now, the fastest growing women's mixed martial arts dedicated platform on YouTube. We'll see you next time. I'm tired. It's early morning. I'm going to bed.